Hello and welcome to this video. Just wanted to give you a little introduction. This is a Patreon meeting of Andy Edwards. Andy Edwards has a fantastic YouTube channel and he's in a band with me called Nataraja, and he invited me to come onto his Patreon meeting, and this was an opportunity for people to ask me questions and for me to talk more about what I do with Indian classical music on the guitar. And me and Andy also went into the album, the new live album that's coming out with our band Nataraja, and it was really exciting to talk about that because we're really pleased with how that's come out. So enjoy this. It's a fairly open-ended conversation between me and Andy and some of his Patreon members on Zoom. So I go into a lot of different things. There's a lot of different topics that we cover about different types of world music and scales and different guitar techniques and all kinds of things. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you next time.
Hello everybody, it's the Patreon meeting. It's getting quite a nice little cozy little club now on a Friday afternoon or evening or morning, depending on where they all are. Today I have a very special guest, a musical compadre of mine, Jack Jennings, has come to visit us today. Jack's an amazing guitar player who plays with the spirit of Jimi Hendrix, but has really studied Indian classical music really deeply. He really knows his stuff. And so he's really interesting musician. We're working together on an album at the moment, which is pretty much finished, and I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best albums I've ever done. Really fiery live album. So patrons, would you like to say hello to Jack?
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Jack.
Guys.
Hello.
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 He's all your
right.
He's all yours, patrons. Ask away. Let's get a discussion going. I'm gonna keep out of this one.
All right. Yeah, I've seen most of you guys by watching YouTube, Andy's YouTube, because I'm definitely one of Andy's biggest fans. I don't watch every single video because he makes so many videos, but I watch a lot of Andy's videos. So
in other words,
you're doing a smart
getting
thing.
famous. You're getting YouTube famous,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
Doran.
yeah, Doran, yeah.
Well, I had a question. So I have to admit, I wasn't familiar with your work until this meeting popped up. And so I've been reading and listening to your music and very impressed. I really like the work you're doing. Two questions, I guess. Do you have recordings that you can recommend other than just watching you on YouTube?
The album coming soon with Andy, that will be coming out in the new year. That's just beyond anything I've managed to do before.
That's the one to get.
Yeah, I mean, and Andy's just he's just nuts. You know, playing with Andy is just amazing. You know? The funny thing with the album with Andy is that we've got quite a story to tell with that one, because we had 2 rehearsals and then we went out and did a live album, or rather we did a live show, first live show after 2 rehearsals, and the whole thing just fell into place. It was like, that's it, that's a live album, and there's hardly any editing on the thing. It's just it really happened, you know. And I just want to say first of all that that, you know, we're all here because we love Andy, but I got to tell you guys, like,
I'm not.
Yeah, yes you are. Yes, you are. You've got to love yourself at least a little bit to have a YouTube channel. Otherwise, you really couldn't stand yourself, could you? But Andy is. I just want to tell you guys that like he really, really is amazing. You know, and because we spend time talking on the phone and all the amazing stuff he says in his videos, like he's really like that when you're talking to him, like, and he's just such an amazing friend, and he's given me so much advice about music, and like he's reflected things back to me about myself as well, and he's even helped me with like my relationship, and he's like with my daughter, like, you know, parenting advice. I just want to say, guys, that like Andy is like, he's really, really special, isn't he? I know we all really appreciate Andy.
I think this video might may go on the main channel. I think now, actually.
Yeah. Now that
Wasn't too sure.
It's the best thing.
Jack not being
It's the best thing anybody ever said.
as a Bev Bevan or a, you know, Narada Michael Walden. But I think now I just sat there thinking I might just put it on the main channel now.
Yeah. No,
that was the
my ego being what it
down.
is. That was very nice, Jack. That's very, very kind to you. The wonderful thing about the channel is it's put me in touch with so many incredible people, because I'm talking about this music that we all love. Jack absolutely loves John McLaughlin. He loves him.
Yeah.
And he loves Jimi Hendrix. And he was watching the channel for that. We started talking. And I think the reason why that live album's so good is because we talk so much about what music we wanted to hear. And I was like, and all this fusion nowadays, it's all clean, it's too clean cut, then no one lets loose. And you know, there's no danger, there's no excitement. And this album is it's somewhere, it's like Band of Gypsies, Mavish Nuksha, Ravi Shankar. It's like those three things all together.
Wow.
But and we're going wrong, aren't we? There's tracks where we just lose it and it collapses, but we've left it all on because there's moments when it's absolutely flying. And because Jack's so well trained as an Indian classical musician, he can handle my timings. There's a lot of musicians, they're very good musicians, but they have difficulty dealing with my polyrhythmical things I do. And Jack didn't. And I think that's why it came together, because he was sort of emboldened by me going off. Because I remember we went for a kebab and you were going, well, what are you doing? Like I was, you know, and but I was like so fired up because he was able to come back on the one, you know, because he's an absolute virtuoso with this stuff. He knows it inside out.
How many musicians on the album are playing live?
It's a 4,
four musicians. So it's me on drums, Jack on guitar. We've got the legendary John Jowitt, UK's, you know, the UK, you know, prog rock legend. He's one of my best mates, and he will be coming in here at some point. John will, to have a chat, and he's a lovely bloke. But John's on bass, so we've got that great big proggy Chris Squire, Geddy Lee type bass on there, and then I've got my friend Richard Boxley on modular synthesis. So in Indian classical music, you have, what's it called? Is it the
Tempura drone?
Tempura.
Yeah, the Tempura drone. We replaced with modular synthesis, which worked really well, didn't it, Jack?
Yeah. That was I think the master stroke, really. I mean, this band wouldn't have happened without Andy's idea, really, because it's really interesting, because I've come in, I've said, right, I want to do this track, and we're going to do it in this order, and you know, this is what I want to do. And then Andy said, right, okay, well, we're going to need this bass player, and we're going to use a modular synthesis. And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I never would have thought of that. But I've got a really strong belief that for music to be good, it has to be a bit beyond just what your own personal ideas are. It has to be something extra than just whatever I would have thought of on my own. I wouldn't have thought of doing that. And I was, because he was saying, oh, you know, because he can do all of these different things, and then there's even like he can bring in all these things from like house music and stuff. And I was saying, to be honest, I don't know what you mean. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, why would I want that? You know, but I thought to myself, and I said to Andy, you know, but it has to go beyond just my ideas. It's got to be something bigger than just my vision. And what Andy brings to it as a drummer is this sense of improvising with a great compositional sense. So whenever something's happening improvising, there's a feeling of like, right, okay, I can feel what's coming. All right, okay, now it's time to go here. Like, okay, right, okay, right, now it's time to explore this idea. And there's always
Structure.
a sense of like, yeah, it's like it's weird with improvisation. I always feel like as much as it should be kind of a madness about it and a craziness, it should also be that somehow it's like we're reading from like a book that doesn't exist. You know, that there should be a sense that like we're kind of interpreting something that's coming through. And I think that great improvisation, it does have that sense of like, you could say channeling, or that there's some kind of, you don't have to give any meaning to it, but it's as if like we're kind of, there's something like coming through. It's not just us making it up as we go along. There's a sense of like we're holding onto some kind of like golden thread. And yeah, as a drummer, Andy's really got that. He's using his head, you know.
Jack, you know, when you're in that place with these musicians, do you find that new things come out of your fingers, either new pull-offs or new slides? You actually inspire you?
Yeah, there's things that I simply cannot do if I'm just here playing on my own or playing with different musicians, or if I'm playing with a tabla player. There's certain places that I can go and things I can do. But if you're playing with a good drummer, bass player, and you've got that loudness or the texture of the band, it will be possible to do things that I mean, for myself personally, I find it, and what actually I think made me go into Indian music is that I found it really difficult to keep playing kind of hard, fast, loud, distorted guitar stuff. I got to a point even in my late teens where I just couldn't do it anymore. Maybe I wasn't playing with the right people, and I was playing alone, and I was traveling in India just using like I played on a nylon string. I've got this beautiful Spanish guitar, which is like a handmade like flamenco guitar that's really nice for playing lead on. So I played a guitar like that for years and years. And then with the electric guitar, I found that I wanted to play clean, and I found it impossible to play like really high, kind of fast, aggressive stuff for years. I felt like someone had taken that away from me. It was like someone said, right, you've got this skill that you've always had since you were a teenager. I'm actually just going to take that away. And it was a really weird experience, and that's what made me build a new way of playing, with more of a sitar influence. But plugging in with Andy again, like the first time we played together with just guitar and drums, and I immediately felt that I could play in a much more I could push into a more like edgy way of playing, and then all kinds of different things that I'd be too timid to do on my own, I could do playing with Andy, because he gives you like a container for all of that stuff. I mean, I didn't mean this video to just be purely just me praising Andy, but to be honest,
Andy doesn't mind.
Well, just about 5 minutes before, and I did say he had to say good things about me.
It's just having the opportunity to talk to people who actually are gonna appreciate and are gonna understand this, you know, because it's like if you're into football, or you're into, you know, if you meet someone who's really into it, then you can have this conversation. Or if you meet someone that loves Jimi Hendrix, then you can pour yourself out and say, oh my God, isn't it great? You know, so if you're with guys that appreciate this kind of music, then like I can get this off my chest, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm going to give you know, Jack some love now. This guy can play guitar, but the way he plays guitar is unlike anybody else. Are you holding the legendary Tokai there? Or is that
yeah, the 1982 Tokai.
So have you got? Is that the one with your special tuning strings on?
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to
show
ask.
what you do on guitar, because it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Is it tuned like a sitar?
It kind of is, because basically what you have on the sitar is that you've got something called Chikari strings, which are like
sympathetics.
high strings.
The sympathetics, right?
Well, they can act sympathetically, but you've got different layers of strings with the sitar. You've got strings underneath the main strings. There's two levels.
That's what
of
I
strings.
meant.
Yeah. So they're sympathetics underneath, and then the top layer of strings, you've got thinner strings at the top, and they're tuned to the tonic, and they're giving you that kind of sound, and they're meant for rhythmic support or just playing, not so much as a drone, because they don't last that long, they're thinner strings, but they're more for accents and like putting these little pauses in between the melody notes. And then you'll have the main string, which is tuned to, in this case, D or C sharp, and that would be Sa. Sa is like the do in Western music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In Indian music, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. So we have those tuned to D, to Sa. So all I've had to do here is just take two high E strings, like light gauge 8 to 8, so they sound a bit kind of lighter and more shimmery. And then there's my D. And then the fourth string, the top four strings are just standard tuning. But if you take it up to the two Chikari strings and D string and then G string, that represents the main string on the sitar. The sitar has one or two more drone strings, but it's essentially got Chikari strings, a lower drone, and then the main string for phrasing, and then all of your phrasing is pretty much just done on that one string, going upwards like this. So just those bottom four strings, I've basically got like a condensed miniature sitar, right? And the sitar pretty much it's like a 24 fret instrument, so it's almost the same really. And then of course I've got my top two strings, which I don't use very often. If I'm playing Indian classical music, I'm pretty much just wedded to this G string, and everything I'm playing is pretty much there, and I'll use the top strings pretty much if I just need to, if I want to go up high. But any other note on the guitar on these strings can be found on the G string, just going higher up. So I'm not really losing any range, I'm just reorganizing stuff. Okay, so that's probably enough talking. Okay, so basically I'm getting a feeling to play Rag Bhageshri, which is an evening rag.
What is that? Is that like a Mixolydian?
It is. How did you know that?
Because I heard you just do it then. I knew you were going to do it. I heard it at the top of the guitar.
Oh, right.
Mixolydian.
There you go. Like
a lot of the Indian
Mixolydian time of day here.
Yeah.
Drummers aren't supposed to use words.
You thought I'd done some special psychic powers there, didn't you, Jack?
Well, I thought maybe you knew about.
So that's like northern style. It's like Rajasthan.
It's more. Yeah, this is more northern style. I mean, the style that I've found myself growing into, you would say, is Itawa Gharana. Itawa is a place, and it's not too far from Pune, I think. But it's the style of Shahid Parvez, who's a wonderful sitar player, and I've studied with his son Shakir Khan, and my main guru Roopa Panesar studied with him, and other musicians I've worked with like Manish, Pingle, slide guitar player, also studied with Shahid Parvez. So without necessarily meaning to, I've kind of fallen under this into this style of Shahid Parvez, and he's really my favorite sitar player. So that's a North Indian style, even though he's fairly, but Pune, they're quite far down there. But it's the North Indian style, which is kind of unusual. Most guitar players actually are more South Indian. The Carnatic style is more traditionally found on well, I can't say traditionally, but it's more commonly found on the guitar because of Srinivas. If you guys know Srinivas, who played with Shakti, remember Shakti, people took what he did and then they put on electric guitar. So it's kind of unusual to find someone who's actually doing more traditional North Indian on the guitar and really treating it as a sitar, and trying to really kind of play by the rules. I'm I love to do some fusion stuff. I'm kind of doing more fusion now than anything else, but I really try to play by the rules if I'm doing Indian classical. So yeah, let's hear a bit of this Rag Bhageshri. But by the way, like how many drummers have got that good an ear that they can hear one phrase and say, Mixolydian? Okay. Yeah,
Andy,
so
it's getting too much.
I
it's
know.
getting
I
too
love
much.
this video.
I need. Yeah, I
I've had
need
a
to
bad
stop
day
going
now,
on.
and it's really cheered me up to have so much sunshine blown up my arse.
Well, it's all the truth, though. That's the thing. It's like you can say all this because it's true. So,
We were
right.
just waiting to. I love that. I love the way he's delaying playing the guitar all the
I
time.
know,
This is a
sorry.
true professional musician. We salivated at bated, just to hear you play now. Go on.
Okay, that's a little bit of
Bravo.
something.
Can I just
Right.
say, Jack, for somebody who cut their guitar teeth on the Oasis songbook, that ain't too shabby.
Oh my God, how did you hear that? You must
I know stuff.
have- Yeah, man. A Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger. That's how I, learned to play.
I guess that tuning was at the end of the book, was it?
Yeah, that was just, taking Oasis to the next level. But it's the logical conclusion of Oasis if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Because you go to the Beatles and then you go through there, don't you?
Well, you've actually pulled, George Harrison and all that. Jack, if you're playing in like that D Rog, that D mix Lydian, you're also a blues guitarist, aren't you? So you could play D blues there. How do you not do that?
Yeah, you got to consciously not do the stuff you normally would do.
Could you show us what that would sound like? Can you do a bit of the proper? Because the thing with Jack is he's really studied Indian classical. I mean, it's not like people are doing a little bit of an influence and they got some bends. He's really studied this. So, and it's interesting the amount of control he has when I watch him play, because I know that he's a real big blues player as well, So what would that sound like? Could you do that, or is it just so worlds apart that you can't?
You could do it. This rag would be. I mean, I'd have to break the rules a fair bit, which is fine. But for some rags are very, very good for like blending.
Can you show us something like that? Because I love this sound. Can you show us?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's funny that this rag is such a traditional, like there's a collection of core phrases that you're working off of. This one is different. I'll tell you what. I'll just switch it up. I'm going to play a bit of Rag Jog, which is really close to blues in terms of just the notes it's using. Rag Jog is like here's the scale. It's like a pentatonic up and a pentatonic down, but it uses the both major and minor third, just like a blues scale, or like a kind of hybrid Johnny B. Good blues scale. So if I play the scale up, it's like, which again is pretty much Mixolydian, but with less notes. And then on the way down, using that, just a minor pentatonic on the way down. So going up, we're going to play lots of things like and then back to that minor third. So you're getting a lot of nice like and then even if you're playing fast, like you're combining all those like major sounding phrases with the minor. Okay, and then if I switch that more into like a blues thing for Andy. Okay.
Seamless.
Okay.
Brilliant.
A bit of both.
Absolutely
Brilliant.
fantastic, Jack. It's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
I was having fun with it. Yeah.
I love your blues player because your control of bends obviously is absolutely incredible. And when you play blues licks, it's like, whoa! It's like there's so much amount of control you've got on those bends and the vibrato. It's an incredible thing. Did anyone see the Rick Beato video that went out? And he comes on and he goes, I went to see Shakti last night.
Yeah.
Yes, he's finally doing it. He's going to talk about John McLaughlin, and then he just talked about Bella Fleck for the whole thing, which was incredible.
And he said he doesn't like to go to see shows, which I found it really odd at the end of the video for some reason.
Yeah, he says that a lot, Rick.
Yeah.
And I've always found that over the years, it's clear that he I mean, we can't say for sure, but you just feel he just doesn't vibe with McLaughlin, basically. I mean, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he likes Mahavishnu. He said it was good. Of course he likes it. But it is surprising for all the stuff that he's doing that he just does not. But, he should have watched your superiometer video that came out just before this, right? With the
we'll get to it.
He wanted to copy the superiometer.
Yeah, I think if he had one of those, then maybe it could balance, because he's so Holdsworth. He loves Holdsworth so much that I think McLaughlin just doesn't do it for him. That's my theory.
I think McLaughlin is not jazzy enough for him. I think it's going in a different direction, I think, for what he likes. And you can feel it, like, the way he praises things differently, so you kind of know what he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, because McLaughlin, he's got a different time feel, and he helps me to feel kind of good about myself, because I mean, I can never play like I can pick fast, but I'm in my lane when I'm picking fast. I can't do all the stuff that McLaughlin's doing, but McLaughlin's got a different time feel, and I've been through things trying to go to like a jazz jam session, and I try and solo, and people look at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? Get this guy off the stage, like, because I don't have that, like, that jazz.
You don't know the
time
rules.
Feel. It's not. I probably could have really wanted to, but I love to listen to it. I listen to jazz all the time, but I don't have that time feel. I've got more of a McLaughlin-esque Jimmy time feel, and that works with the Indian stuff really, really well. So yeah, but to me, blues and Indian classical music are more similar than either of them are to jazz, because blues is basically a rag. You know, blues, you've got the notes, and you can add other notes, but you've got to add them actually in a particular way. They don't teach it because, you know, you're just supposed to know it if you can play blues. But you don't play like every note, like you don't play that in blues, but you could go. But you could play all of those. I just played all those chromatic notes, but you have to do them in phrasing order. And that is exactly what a rag is. You have the notes, but you have to do them with the correct phrasing order. So blues is the closest thing in Western music that we have to a rag. But the thing about Indian classical music is that they've got hundreds of rags. They've got hundreds of rags that all have their own particular phrasing structure. And that makes me a beginner, basically, because there's too many rags to know.
and how does flamenco relate to Indian classical music?
It's difficult to say. Aesthetically, there's a strong connection because of the Moorish occupation, the Moorish influence of the Iberian Peninsula, so Spain, and you can sometimes hear it in the Portuguese music of fado. You can hear in the vocals, and if you guys don't know the fado music, there's like a Portuguese guitar, which is like a mini guitar, and it has a very exotic lead kind of sound. So the lead playing of flamenco, especially the vocalization of flamenco, has a strong connection with Indian classical vocal. But it's not a classical music. It doesn't have a systematic approach. They've got different styles of flamenco, different styles of different songs and rhythms. And hanging out with like flamenco musicians and Indian musicians at the same time, things can happen. Like they start playing a flamenco pattern. I'm probably going to do it wrong. I'm sure I'm going to do it wrong. But something like 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, like 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. There's like cycles in flamenco that they use. And I was hanging out with flamenco guys and a tabla player, and he said, "Oh, well, that's exactly like this tabla pattern, you know." So there's lots of things like with timing cycles and focus on nuances within scales that make it similar, flamenco and Indian classical. But then flamenco, the amazing thing also about flamenco is that it's harmonically, you can play any type of chord in flamenco. It doesn't matter, like from super sweet to super abstract. You can play any kind of harmony, and the really great flamenco players can go super far out with harmony, and so that takes it into a different domain altogether. That Indian classical music is strictly does not have chord changes. If it does, then it's suddenly fusion. There's no space for chord changes in classical music, really.
Did you know that the last 2 minutes? I'm afraid we're up to the last 2 minutes of the discussion. That's been fascinating. I think this has been one of the most informative ones we've ever had, and I've learned a lot on this. So we will say trivia. Goodbye. What was that, Darren?
I said a quick trivia thing is that Indian tribes 1,000 years ago, when they started to immigrate out of India to the West, became gypsies and eventually arrived in Spain. And Spain, through, if you go east, you can pretty much hear the evolution of West or of music, from India to Spain. And if you take Romania or Bulgaria, the way you go east, you go further and further into the Indian style. And it all started there.
There's a fascinating thread, and I don't think everyone, because even in, say, certain aspects of English or, say, Gaelic folk music, you can hear drones, Irish folk music, you can hear drones.
instruments.
North African music, you can hear similar things, like either Papas Off, those sort of wedding bands of Bulgaria. There's a certain thread that goes through. We have 1 minute to go. Shall we say bye to Jack? Jack, thank you for doing that.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
That's really fascinating stuff. And patrons, I will finish off. I'm going to press stop now, and we'll see you all on the next one.